Hi everyone, Gary Lamassa here. In this video, we're going to provide a brief introduction to Inside Analytics. Inside Analytics, or IA, is an optional module for the UNUM platform, and it requires an add-on license. IA enables the analysis of NetVisor flow telemetry within the fabric and displays high-level information through a series of graphical widgets, as well as detailed metadata down to the individual flow. UNUM will store flow metadata for up to 30 days in a first-in, first-out format, and up to a total amount depending on the version of UNUM selected. For example, the standard virtual machine option stores up to 100 million flows, while a high-capacity cluster can store up to 2.5 billion flows. Also, UNUM stores all TCP flows, not just a sample set. Now, when we say connection or flow, what do we mean? A flow is simply a TCP connection with an entry point and an exit point within a fabric. Pluribus NetVisor 1 operating system stores metadata on flows that can be broken into 4 buckets. First, there's packet header metadata, such as source and destination IPs, VLANs, and VXLANs. Second, there's TCP connection metadata, such as TCP states, bytes, and round-trip time. And third, switch connection metadata, such as timestamps, fabric names, and IDs, and port numbers. Our fourth bucket is custom metadata. UNUM itself will add VMware vSphere metadata, original manufacturer, and geolocation data whenever possible. Administrators can also define and attach custom metadata to specific flows based on their individual business environment. This is an advanced feature that we'll cover in another video at a later date. To use Inside Analytics, first we select the fabric we want to view on the left in the global pane. Then we click on Analytics and Inside Analytics. As you can see, we've broken up the dashboards for Inside Analytics into 3 categories: flow-based, VMware-based, and ports. Under Flow, we have the connections dashboard, and I'll dig into this a bit more in a moment. We have a traffic dashboard. This breaks flows down by bytes. And we have dynamic flow mapping. This illustrates total connections based on server state and fabric endpoints. Now, Reports displays a standardized view of high-level flow statistics over the past 7 days. And Custom Tags is the advanced feature I mentioned, where admins can add custom metadata tags to specific flows. We also have an SFlow dashboard. This is an early field trial feature. This is for use in test environments now. If you want to know when this is supported for production, please refer to the Pluribus UNUM website and homepage, which I have a link to at the end of the presentation. Now, also under VMware, you notice we have connections, traffic, and dynamic flow mapping as well. If the VMware vCenter connection service, or VCCS, is enabled in the fabric, we can capture vSphere metadata into our telemetry records as well. These dashboards are in the same format as their flow counterparts in the first column. And port mapping, this is another advanced feature we'll cover in another video. So let's jump onto the connections dashboard. Okay, so this is the connections dashboard, and you can see we have a variety of widgets here. Before we get into these, let's first decide what time period we want to look at. In the upper right, I have a time selector, so I can select the time range. So if I click on this, we can see I can look at the last 15 minutes, last hour, last month, which I have selected now. I also have a relative option. I can say any time period between now and, say, a week ago, or now and 2 weeks ago, as well as an absolute option. If I want to pick a specific date and time to another date and time, I can do that here. I'm just going to stick with a quick option and leave it at the last 30 days. Now, let's take a look at the circle widgets. We have a series of them here. The top layer 4 services by connections, so these are basically applications. We also have top clients by connections, top domains, and so on. The way to read or use a circle widget is the inside arc and the outside arc represent correlation points. So here I can see the inside arc represents an application called unauthorized service. Now notice when I mouse over this arc, I also highlight the selection here in the menu to the right. What we're trying to represent is on the outside. So here we can see these are TCP reset states. So there's a lot of resets going on with this unauthorized service. I can see other options in here like SSH and HTTP. And what this widget really does is it gives you a means of filtering down and starting to drill down into suspected issues within your traffic. So for example, say I want to see all the SSH connections over the past month. I just click on this particular art. You see this blue bar appears up here, and now UNUM's applying this filter to the connections over the past 30 days. So here we can see the connection count has gone down. Now I'm only looking at 36,000 connections. We can see they're all SSH, and we can see the vast majority of these are all in the finished state from a TCP perspective. Now, the other widgets work similarly, but we also have a different type of widget. First, let me clear this filter by highlighting the blue bar and clicking on the trash can. Now, off to the right, you can see these histogram widgets. We have top servers by unique clients, top services by total unique clients. Here, we can see top servers by average connection latency in microseconds. Well, I can see 60,000 microseconds here. That's a long time. So maybe I should take a closer look at this server. By clicking on the bar for the server that has the high latency, I can once again apply a filter to all the metadata that's stored within UNUM and start to zero in on this particular issue. So if I scroll up, I can see, okay, there's 46,500 counts of this that are 60,000 or higher. That's a lot. Say I want to drill into this further. We can see the connections timeline by state widget here. Well, I can see the worst offender seems to be this time period on April 2nd. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag and drop and zoom in further. Now, as you can see, I'm down to 13,000 connections. That's still a lot, so let's zoom in another time on the worst offender here. Okay, I'm down to 7,500 connections, which is still too many. But as we can see, the time period appears to have started around 6:51 in the evening, past 18:59, so almost 7 o'clock in the evening. This might be something we might want to look into. Check out host 172.18.20.2. Now, as I look down to the bottom, I can see I have an Insight Details pane. This is a list of all the individual records and the metadata that was recorded. Well, here I can see some high-level information. I can see the fabric name as well as the switch name that this particular flow went through. I can see the source port. I can see the source IP, destination port, destination IP, and so on. If I blow this up, there's even more information. To the left is each one of the fields that exist for metadata within UNUM, and to the right are the values. All this is searchable within the search bar. So for example, I can see that this is a SaaS service for Exchange. I can see this is a connection type or current state. See day of the week, for example, destination cities. And the way you use this is I would simply type in, for example, if I wanted to see all the Exchange events, I could type in SaaS, and this would give me the options for the SaaS services. So I could select, for example, say Microsoft. This would apply another filter to the actual database. Now I'm going to clear that. We have quite a few things here. We can also export records. So if I click on the export button right here, I'll save to a CSV file. This CSV file will record all the header information that's listed here. And I can give you a brief look at what it looks like. And here you go. It's a list of all the records that occurred within the designated time frame and with all the filters applied. Now we can do more with the search bar. First, let's reset our time frame to the last 30 days. And we'll clear our filter. Okay, we're back to the high-level view of the Franz fabric, and we can see our 358,000 connections. Now, the search bar can be used with Boolean logic. For example, I can type in latency, and I can look for, say, all flows from 50,000 microseconds to the wildcard, which means infinity. Now, this will provide me a list of all the connections that are over 50,000 microseconds. And there you go. You can see we have 46,000 of them. There's other options we can use. For example, if I wanted to take a look at long-lived flows, I can type in dir for duration, bracket, and these are measured in seconds. So we'll look at all flows from 50 seconds to 500 seconds. Hit the enter key. Again, we apply a filter, and this allows us to drill into, we have 90 really long-lived flows. So as you can see, the search bar is pretty powerful. There's much more information in the config guide on the various options you can use, and no need to download the config guide. Just press the blue help button here. So I hope you can see how Insight Analytics can be a powerful tool to help you to drill down into traffic issues within your fabric. For more information about UNUM, please visit the UNUM homepage at pluribusnetworks.com. And while you're there, please check out the new Pluribus UNUM Fabric Automation Guide. Thanks for watching.